Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So, let us have a quick understanding of the banks, the history of the banks. This is just the compilation of the broad chronology of the banks. There can be other facts and figures added in it. So, it is not exclusive. There can be many things that can be added. So, it is just a broad overview. Whatever I could gather in few uh, hours of my reading. So, I'd started with the modern era. In the 1770, the first bank was established was Bank of Hindustan. It was in Calcutta, and I had deliberately drawn this figure that shows the places that were mostly frequented by the Britishers and other European invaders. So it has a consequence that because of this, the banks were established at these places. East India Company established three banks starting from 1806 to 1843. At 1806, in 1806, Bank of Bengal was established in Calcutta, and then in 1840, Bank of Bombay, and in 1843, Bank of Madras. So these were the three banks established by East India Company. In 1921, it was combined and formed and called Imperial Bank of India. So, and this Imperial Bank of India, you'll be surprised to know that the SBI, which we know, it is formed from this bank. The nationalization of Imperial Bank of India was done in 1955, and it was renamed as SBI. In Let us go back again to 1800s, and in 1865, Allahabad Bank was established. The renowned Allahabad Bank. For the general awareness, it was established in 1865. In 1861, Awadh Commercial Bank was established. It is important as it Indians were included first time in the management. So historical, it has historical perspective, and for general awareness, it is important as it was the first bank in which the Indians were initially in the first time they were included. In 1895, the great PNB, we all know PNB because of the recent events, and this was the first bank in which Indians had full control over the management, although the ownership was not with them. And let us go to further in the history. In 1911, it is very important. Central Bank of India, first bank with both roles, Indian. The Swamitva was Bharati and the Prabandhan was Bharatiya, means the ownership and the management both were Indian. Was established by Pochkanwala. The first chairman was Firoz Shah Mehta. In 1934, the RBI Act came into being. In 1st April 1935, RBI started working. Established with rupees 5 lakh, they had only rupees 5 lakh with them at that point of time. Was still privately owned, regulation was difficult, so on 1st January 1949 it was nationalized. In March 1949, Banking Adhiniyam, Banking Regulation Act 1949 came into being. In 1969, 14 big banks with minimum rupees 50 crore or more holdings were nationalized. In 1986, big banks minimum rupees 200 crore nationalized. 993, New Bank of India was merged with PNB and was nationalized. When I say nationalized, it was taken under charge of government, under control of the government, and proportionate amount of money was paid to their owners. In 2008, SBI, the state bank, SBI was merged with State Bank of Saurashtra and Bank of India. When I say, let me say the other way around, that State Bank of Saurashtra and State Bank of Indore was merged with SBI. In 2013, Bharatiya Mahila Bank was merged with SBI, and on 1st April 2017, five big banks, the State Bank of Travancore, State Bank of Patiala, State Bank of Mysore, State Bank of Hyderabad, State Bank of Bikaner and Jaipur were merged. In 2018, Vijaya Bank and Dena Bank were merged with Bank of Baroda, and thus Bank of Baroda became the overall in charge. So this was the uh, broad chronology of the history of Indian banking system, how it came into being. So to conclude, the takeaway point is, if you are that inquisitive as I am, so my takeaway with this information was, I was impressed to know that SBI was is the Imperial Bank of India. It was Imperial Bank of India was formed into converted into SBI, then the Allahabad Bank. Then which one was the first bank? So as Awadh Commercial Bank had management control in PNB, fully Indians, was established in 1895, and the first bank that was this Central Bank of India. And I was amazed to know about Pochkanwala and the Firoz Shah Mehta, that I'll discuss sometime later. So these are the major takeaways, and the especially the RBI Act when it came into being, and the Banking Regulation Act. These are the major takeaways. Thank you. Take care. Good evening. Shabba khair.